Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mike. Happy Friday to you. I'm coming at you with another review on some movies. Thank you guys for all the recommendations you've been giving me. I'm going to get to all of them. I'm keeping a list. It just takes time to watch movies. So, in the meantime, I'm just going to do two of my favorite. They're going to be two anthology movies that I love, grew up watching, and still watch to this day. And you've probably seen them, but that's going to be CREEPSHOW 1 and CREEPSHOW 2. Cool. The cool thing about these movies is that there's going to be just multiple stories, and then in the background there's like this running story. In the first one, it's about this kid who's like mad at his dad, and then in the second one, it's more animated, so it's about this kid who's into horror. He's being bullied. So those kind of like interweave in between the stories, which is really cool. And then that story ends itself at the very end after all the other stories are completed. So let's get to checking them out. I'm just going to go through each story of both movies and just give you my thoughts on them, what I think, which ones are my favorite, and which ones I may not like. I know it's possible. Okay, cool. Let's go. All right, starting with CREEPSHOW 1. So we have 6 stories. At least the IMDb says it's 6 stories, which is true, but it's really 5 stories, and then there's like that one in the background, like I mentioned. All right, so the first one is just about this woman, Bedelia, and, she's going to meet up with her family, and they're talking about her father, who was like this miserable person, and there's all these flashbacks of him, like demanding stuff from her, so they're all kind of happy he's dead. And this is like one of my least favorite ones, but it's really cool for the fact that, he's like, he comes back from the grave at the end and he has that line, "Where's my cake?" And then you hear the name Bedelia over and over, which is pretty cool. So, really, really good episode to start it off. Like I said, it's not one of my favorites, but it starts off, it sets the mood. So very cool. So check that one. All right, the second one actually stars Stephen King in it. It's about this guy who lives on a farm and like this meteor hits and he thinks, he's rich and all this. And he's going to sell it, and it turns out it's like this big like moss kind of thing that starts growing on him. Maybe alien in nature. Doesn't really explain it. So again, he also goes through these like kind of flashbacks and talking to his father, which is interesting. He's also a grumpy person. I don't know why. Maybe that's a theme in this movie for some reason. So that's scary for a lot of people, though, I'm sure. And so yeah, this one just builds. He's kind of like the only person in it, minus the little stories in between and his imagining scenarios of him selling this thing. And yeah, it ends up, I won't tell you exactly how it ends up, but it doesn't end up good for him. So check this one out. This one also, it's not one of my favorite ones, but we're getting to the ones I really like, I promise. All right, the third one, and one of my absolute favorites in this whole series, is the one with Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson. So this one is about an obsessive husband whose wife is cheating on him with Ted Danson. Understandable, but I guess they were like on a TV show together in a movie, and Leslie Nielsen wants to kind of get revenge on both of them. So he buries Ted Danson on the beach up to his neck, and he buries his wife somewhere else and makes them kind of watch each other on TV till they die with the tide. So that's pretty crazy. So that's a good one. So check that one out. It's really good, kind of slow, I guess a slow torture, but it's done in such a comical way with Leslie Nielsen, who's such a great actor. So check that out. Again, that'll probably be my first one I really enjoy in the series on this movie. Let's talk about my absolute favorite one in this whole movie, which is The Crate, right? Okay, The Crate is like the best one in my opinion. It's about this guy who works, I believe in a college, as like a professor, or his friend's a professor. They play chess together, and they find this crate in the basement one day with the janitor, and they don't know what's in it, and they open it up, and there's like this freaking huge monster in it that just starts killing everybody in the college who's left there, because it's like during a winter break, I believe. On top of that, the guy's wife is like this really mean person, and he wants to get rid of her, so he sees that as a way to do that. And again, I don't like to give too much away, but this is my favorite episode in CREEPSHOW 1, and you should watch it and enjoy it and love it as much as I do. All right, moving on to the last story. The last story is actually one I hate, and that's about bugs. I'll give you a brief synopsis of it. It's about this guy. Again, he hates bugs and pests, and he's like obsessive, and he has like all these bugs infesting his apartment, and he's just obsessed about it. He got a guy to clean it, and long story short, the bugs wind up just killing him in such a most disgusting way that I never watched this one. I don't like it. So if you have a thing for bugs and you really want your skin to crawl, then you can watch it, but I don't recommend it. I never liked it. I've always skipped it. In fact, they also cut this one out on TV when they played it, so I never really had to watch it. So really grotesque. I don't like it. but it will, you know, make your skin crawl if bugs is a thing for you. So cool. All right, and then finally, like I said, the last story, or number 6, is like the kid and his father. So to get rid of his dad, he orders this like voodoo doll out of the back of a magazine, which I believe is called CREEPSHOW. And, you know, he uses it, and that's kind of like the finale, what he does to his dad, which is really cool. And then there's some like bits of animation in there. Also really cool. You know, check it out. Like I said, it's something for everybody. Plus it has this really cool artwork. Cool. I actually got this one at Movie Stop when they were going out of business, so I finally got a copy of it. And this is the old school DVD that opens up like that. It's pretty cool. You see Stephen King there with his moss face. So yeah. And it says the most fun you'll have being scared. And I agree with that. You'll ever have being scared. Cool. So we're gonna move on to CREEPSHOW 2 now and talk a little bit about that one. And let's go. All right, so real quick, I just want to thank everybody for doing the polls, for giving me the recs, and participating in the page. I love to hear your comments. I love to discuss horror movies, and that's pretty much why I have the page. It's a hobby, so I love it. And please keep interacting with me. That's great. Unless you're a spam person, don't spam me, please. And no, I do not want you to paint my mural picture, but I do appreciate the offer. All right, let's go. So CREEPSHOW number 2. All right, by the way, there is a CREEPSHOW 3. I tried watching it. I thought it was awful, so just ignore that one in my advice. So CREEPSHOW 2 is actually only 3 stories, so they condensed in a little bit from the first one into 3. Now, CREEPSHOW 2 is my preferred one out of the 2. I love this one. I've always loved this cover. You know, you got the creep here at the movies. This guy is awesome. Actually, the creep's from the, I think, the Crypt Keeper. This is whatever this guy's name is. So there you go. I forget. I apologize. It's been a while. So this one has 3. So let's talk about this one. So the first one is about these old couple that own this general store, like in the middle of nowhere. Looks like somewhere in the desert, you know, maybe New Mexico or something like that. And they have this old Indian statue that's like really cool. And, you know, these also local Native Americans come to, I guess, barter with them. And they don't really have any money, so he gives them all these jewels to hold. So the old guy's holding these jewels as like collateral. And then along comes the nephew of the gentleman that gave him the jewels and wants to rob them so he can move out to Hollywood with his friends. So he's a really bad guy. You know, he carries a shotgun. So they go and they rob this general store, this poor old couple that has like really nothing, no customers. And they try to rob them. In the process, they wind up killing them, of course, and it's very sad. And then this Indian statue comes back to life and seeks revenge on these 3 hoodlums, right? And we follow them and their deaths throughout that, which is really cool. So one thing too about the main leader of the guys is that he has this like long hair and he's like, I'm moving out to Hollywood. You know, all the ladies are gonna love me. He takes pictures of himself in a photo booth. Pretty hysterical. So that's just kind of really funny. So again, these movies, they just mix like a little bit of comedy into the horror, but it's really like that old like 80s kind of grainy horror. And you could just put this on like any Saturday afternoon and, you know, chill. Especially it's a little rainy outside. Sounds really cool. And that's that. So I really like that one. Moving on to the second one. The second one in the series called The Raft. The Raft is my favorite one from this anthology and overall series. So The Raft is about these college kids. They drive out to this lake during like a school break or something, and you know, there's 2 couples basically, and they go to this raft to swim, and it turns out there's this big oil slick kind of thing in the lake that starts, you know, attacking them one by one, and they get stuck out there, and it comes down to one guy trying to survive and get away. And it's just pretty gruesome. It's like ripping their skin apart. So really, really, really cool. Has a great ending. I won't tell you what it is, but you should check this one out. Moving along to number 3. Not CREEPSHOW number 3, but, you know. This actually has a really cool disc, by the way. Again, it has this character here. I'm just going to call him the Creep, because that's what I think he is. Even though I think that's the one from Jeepers Creepers, right? I don't know. Maybe this guy has no name. I really can't remember. So moving along to number 3. Number 3 in the series is The Hitchhiker. So The Hitchhiker is about this woman who's like cheating on her husband, and she's driving home really late at night, trying to get home for her husband, and she hits this hitchhiker and then basically does a hit and run. So long story short, this guy keeps coming back to torture her on her way home, so you don't know if he's like a monster or just in her head, like a demon, but you know, he clearly dies, and it's clearly not possible for him to be doing this, but he stalks her all the way home. Now, I think this is kind of like a remake or an adaptation of an old kind of horror. I feel like I've seen it before. I think there's like a Twilight Zone Hitchhiker episode with kind of like the same layout. Either way, it's really good. It's my least favorite one in this whole, but there's only 3, so it's hard. And the first 2 are such bangers that it's, one of them's got to be the weakest link. And but it's still good. I think it gives it kind of a weak ending, but it's fine. I'm not going to fault it for that. But the first 2 were just really, really, really good. So that is basically the synopsis. Oh yeah, I forgot about the background story. So the background story is about this kid. Like I said, he's being bullied. It's all animated, which is really cool. The beginning is not. It shows him as like, live action, and it kind of segues into it. And you got Tom Savini as playing the creep guy. I'm pretty certain it's the creep, right? I know I need to shut up about it, sorry. So, and then he gets a copy of the CREEPSHOW. He basically orders these Venus flytraps seeds, and he plants them to take care of these bullies. And he's riding his bike around town in the meantime, and you got the creep guy kind of telling the stories in between. So he's like, all right, we'll check back in with Billy later. Here's another story. So it's really cool. It keeps things moving. And then in the background, you're thinking, oh, this story's coming. That's going to be really fun when I see the end of it. So that's really cool. It has a great finale. And this one's good. It's short and sweet. So it's clearly an improvement over CREEPSHOW 1 because, they condensed it. This has more of that, really 80s horror to it. So does this one. This one's kind of borderline. I feel like more a little like 70s style. But this one, really good 80s horror. And I highly recommend both. So if you can't choose to start, it doesn't matter because, like I said, they're not really connected. They're just both CREEPSHOWs. So they're all anthologies. You can just pick and watch one episode. Last time I checked, they were streaming on Tubi, at least the second one. I never see the first one really stream anywhere, but the second one, you should check it out. So that is my advice. And I also advise you to skip CREEPSHOW 3, unless you're a really hard CREEPSHOW fan and you want to check it out, just like I did, just to see if it was like anything. And I really don't think it was. So anyways, thanks for stopping by and watching this video, a little bit longer. And I hope to see you on the page commenting and let me know what you think of the movies. If you've seen them, if you're going to watch them, and if you have any other good ones I should check out in the anthology style series. Thank you guys as always. Last Kid on Elm Street. Peace out.